Hello everyone, my name is Daniel Blackburn. We are recording this in the midst of the COVID crisis in 2020, April 2020. And this is a lecture of Environmental Soil Microbiology, SWAE3411 from Sultan Qaboos University. And today's lecture is about soil fungi. So here are some good images about microscopy of soil fungi and a representation about fungi associated with roots here on the bottom right. About the kingdom fungi. Fungi is not as, evolutionarily speaking, it's not as old as archaea or bacteria. So Earth in itself is 4.5 billion years old. Bacteria appeared on Earth 3.8 billion years ago. Archaea evolved from bacteria 2.7 billion years ago, and fungi from archaea. So fungi, they are eukaryotes. So the appearance of the first eukaryotes, it's an event that is speculated to be an endosymbiotic event, where one bacteria transformed itself into an organelle. The endosymbiotic bacteria transformed itself into an organelle, the mitochondria. So the mitochondria, it's a characteristic from all the eukaryotes. So 2.4 billion years ago is where this event might have happened. So from fungi, we have both animals and plants evolving from fungi. So bacteria, cyanobacteria, which are photosynthetic organisms, is the second biggest endosymbiotic event that happened, and this originated the chloroplast in higher plants and algae. All animals and all land plants, they are originating from fungi. So land animals are only here for 470 million years, and land plants for also about the same time. But fungi are inert for 2.4 billion years, so they had a lot more time to evolve adaptations for different environments. So when we talk about fungi, we are talking about different groups of fungi. Yeasts, they are informal term that is designed to represent all the Basidiomycota or Ascomycota that are unicellular. So unicellular fungi, they are invariably called yeasts. But this is not a taxonomic group of fungi. They could be either Basidiomycota or Ascomycota. So Basidiomycota is representing the mushrooms in general, and the Ascomycota are representing the molds. This is usually what you isolate using the rose Bengal agar in the lab. Third group that we are showing here is Zygomycota, which is very different from the other two because Zygomycota, they have sexual reproduction through zygosporangia. Fungi are very important even before we knew they were microbes or we knew about them. We were using fungi in biotechnologies way before. So there are many uses in medicine, in food, and even in spiritual activities. So medicine, for example, the antibiotics and fungi are used as medicine because they produce bioactive compounds. And antibiotics are produced from penicillium, which is a fungi mold. So in food also, the fermentation technologies use many techniques in dairy industry, for cheese, for yogurt, not for yogurt, sorry, for making bread, beer, wine, and many other food technologies. Fungi are used in these fermentations. And in spiritual activities, we have evidence, archaeological evidence, that Um, Fungi, like magic mushrooms, for example, has been used in rituals and spiritual activities, which gives a possibility for humans to have social cohesion during its evolution. So this is also a little bit speculative, but also that many of the events that happened in the Middle Ages are attributed to some um, ergot fungi like claviceps, for example. Um, anyway, in soils, which that's what we're interested in. We're not interested in food or spiritual activities or medicine. In this course, we are interested in the function of these fungi in soils. They are very important due to their metabolic activity. Fungi, they're able to produce a huge amount of extracellular enzymes, and these enzymes are very important on soil metabolism and the breakdown of organic matter in general. And at the same time, fungi, they cause many plant diseases. They infect roots and also human diseases, but for our case, from soils, we are more interested in the plant diseases. Um, Fungi, as I told before, it's very important in the breaking down of organic matter, and they also either help plants get nutrients or they compete with the plants for nutrients. Um, uh, and they are very important also in creating soil aggregates, either directly through their mycelium packing up some microaggregates, or by the secretion of gum-like structures that will be like glomalin that will bind these soil particles together. So in general, we can say that fungi, there are no autotrophic fungi or phototrophic fungi. They are all chemoorganoheterotrophs. It means they are decomposing organic matter and using this organic matter as a source of carbon and energy simultaneously. Um, but at the same time, fungi can make associations with other organisms, other autotrophic organisms. We have about 10,000 species identified in soils, and many of them are symbiotic with plants, mycorrhizae, and or symbiotic with bacteria, cyanobacteria, like the lichens. And also they make symbiosis with macro and mesofauna in soil. So lichens are a symbiotic relationship between cyanobacteria and several fungi. Here are some typical images that we find on soil. Whenever you have some moisture content and you don't have enough organic matter on the soil, let's say surfaces of rocks or even the surface of trees, the fungi makes association with the autotrophic bacteria. So the bacteria is fixing carbon while the fungi is mining the nutrients, the minerals from the surface of the rock or the soil or the bark of the tree or even from dust for that matter. But this symbiotic association is a perfect for the fungi, which cannot fix carbon, and then when the carbon is a limited nutrient in these environments, so the fungi can provide all the other minerals while the autotrophic organisms can provide the carbon. Fungi also makes association with macro and mesofauna. The classical examples are acromimics ants, which they culture these fungi as food. They are leaf cutters, and they cut these leaves and bring them to the nest. And the fungi grows over these leaves. Actually, the fungi is the food for the ant, and the leaves are the food for the fungi. So the ants depend on the fungi growing on the leaves for providing them food for the colony. Also, we have some beetles making association with fungi and termites making association with fungi in the same manner. So this thread of filament that we see that is a hyphae. But a mycelium is a collective, interwoven of hyphae. So when you look at the microscopic fungi, what you actually see is a mycelium, which is a collective of many hyphae grouped together. So the when you look this collective of cells of fungi forming the hyphae, you can have that if these are individualized cells, septate cells, so septate hyphae, they are separating each nuclei um, into different compartments. So this is what we see here on the left. So on the right, what we see is cenocytic hyphae, which don't have those separations. Yeah, you don't have this septa occurring, and you have many nuclei in the same hyphae, not separated by any septa, which this forms that these organisms is one single hyphae can gather sometimes thousands of nuclei, which makes a lot of complications about the genetics of this organism. Other structures from fungi are this modified hyphae called Haustoria. This modified hyphae, these are used for parasitic or predatory behavior of the fungi. Or some modification of this is also used by Mycorrhizae and the Mycorrhizae to form the arbuscules. So here are also some microscopy of fungi and how they are associated with the soil structure. They're basically occupying mostly the macropores of the soil and going around these microaggregates and binding them together through this tissue that they are forming, the mycelium. A closer look into this mycelium growth in the surface of structures and soil particles. And one of the things we have to call attention is that fungi are wood decomposers. Yeah, so they're capable of breaking down hard material from plants, very recalcitrant materials, such as lignin, cellulose, hemicellulose, also many other sugars. But it's very hard for bacteria and other groups of microbes to decompose hardwood, recalcitrant wood materials, but fungi are the ones who carry this function in soil organisms as decomposers of wood materials. One of the things that it's very important about fungi is that they form symbiotic associations with roots. So one of the most important symbiotic associations is what we call mycorrhizae. This happens throughout in nature. Most of the plants have this association with fungi. It's either endomycorrhiza or ectomycorrhiza, but almost all plants, they have this association with fungi, and it's very important for the plant in many aspects. So mycorrhiza, myco from fungi and rhizae from roots. So these are root fungi. Yeah. It's very important. These microbes are very important in nutrient acquisition, especially phosphorus, because phosphorus has a very low mobility in soil. So the ability of exploring a larger volume of soil is very critical for uptaking more phosphorus from the soil. So what is the fungi gaining by giving plants nutrients? They gain the carbon. So the plants are exuding carbon for the fungi, and the fungi is providing nutrients for the plants. Additionally, this fungi may be protecting the plants from pathogens, and the mechanism involved in this is improving surface area for acquiring more nutrients and water at the same time. And also makes that link that when the root is slightly detached from the soil, it can jump and make that link and explore the micropores of the soil, where the water will be stored when the soil is at some level of drought. Most of the mushrooms we see on the forest, they are mycorrhizae. And then we can see here an image on the bottom right that we see this halo growing besides the tree, which forming mushrooms, fruiting bodies of the mycorrhiza, which is actually associated with the tree on the middle. Types of mycorrhiza, we have arbuscular or endomycorrhiza, shortened for AM, arbuscular mycorrhiza, and we have ectomycorrhiza. The difference between them then is that these arbuscular mycorrhizae will penetrate the root and form arbuscules. Form arbuscules, and these arbuscules are responsible for interchanging the nutrients with the plants. Whilst the ectomycorrhizae, they will colonize the surface of the root and form a mycelium mat on the surface of the root, and that will be the interchange outside the root, not inside the root. So the arbuscular mycorrhizae, they're a bit like parasitic fungi, but at the same time they are not harming the plant. They're just using this arbuscules as a way of interchanging nutrients with the plant, taking some carbon molecules out and giving minerals for the plants at the same time. Here are some drawings showing the colonization of the roots by these endomycorrhizae and ectomycorrhizae. So this is very important for the plant because it increases the exploration volume of the soil and makes the nutrients more accessible for the plants. Also protects from pathogens and nematodes in soil. Suppress also competing plants because they can overgrow these plants by having a competitive advantage. And also they have this close relationship with the plants. They alter the root exudates and the rhizosphere microflora. There are some bacteria that are associated with this fungi and not directly with the plant, which is important for the biochemistry of this rhizosphere. Overall, it improves the vigor of these plants and its resistance to stress. Also showing these diagrams are showing the exploration volume of the soil. When you only have root hairs, you only have this possibility of exploration, this immediate area besides the roots. But when you have the hyphae of mycorrhizae, then you can explore a much larger volume of the soil. This is showing here the effect of mycorrhizae on phosphorus acquisition. We have that on the left. We have no rock phosphate and no mycorrhizae. On the middle, you have rock phosphate, no mycorrhizae, and on the right, you have rock phosphate plus mycorrhizae. So the mycorrhizae will solubilize the rock phosphate and make it available for the plants and provide a lot of growth. So whenever phosphorus is deficient, the root colonization by mycorrhizae is critical for a good plant development. So fungi are the largest in forest ecosystems. Fungi are the largest fraction of the microbial biomass. Um, Usually only in forests and acid soils. Otherwise, will be bacteria would be the largest biomass, and it's more abundant as all the microbes in the first centimeters of the soil. It's adapted for a wide range of pHs, but they are more tolerant to acidity than other microbes. So when you have acid soils, it's typical that the fungi will be more predominant. Also, fungi are known to be tolerant to a wide range of temperatures, and they can leave spores, which is resistant structures that will germinate when the conditions are right for colonization of the soil again. So that means that you do not lose very easily this biodiversity of fungi on the soil, because if you have some stress, they will just sporulate and then germinate again when the conditions are right. All right. Um, so in resume, we say that the fungi are competitive saprophytic microbes. They have a fast growth rate. They produce a huge amount of enzymes, extracellular enzymes. They are very important for the organic matter cycling in soils. They can grow in a diverse range of substrates, including the ability of degrading recalcitrant plant materials, and even to degrade some contaminants. And they also have the ability to produce bioactive toxic compounds that are inhibiting the growth of other microbes in the soils. This is all I have for fungi, and make sure you complete the assignment about soil fungi in about a week. So next Sunday you have to submit your assignments. Take care and stay safe during this COVID crisis, and I hope that this will be over soon and we can resume our classes.